meeting, and for those of you who have been here before, you know that we open with a prayer and then we'll stand for the pledge. And so if you join me in a prayer. Lord, thank you for this beautiful morning. Lord, we're continually and always grateful for your presence in our lives, presence here in our city, in our county, Lord, and we just feel feel that presence because Laclede County is truly a great place to call home. Lord, we just ask that you be with us this morning as we take up the items on our agenda and help us to make the best decisions that will serve those who've given us this privilege to be here and represent them. Lord, we're just grateful for our veterans as we come a day past Veterans Day. Let it not be a distant memory, but just another reminder of the indebtedness that we owe to those who have served our nation and those family members as well. And Lord, just the sacrifices that they've made. So, Lord, we just ask that you be with us this morning and in all that we do. May it honor and glorify your holy name. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Darrell, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So Darrell is on the road this morning somewhere. Where you at, Darrell?
I'm outside of Franklin, Tennessee.
All right. Well, how's the weather there?
It's nice and it's brisk. It's cool.
Nice and
cool.
brisk. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we've already heard that comment this morning. The weather's a little cooler. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and start the business. And the first thing we have is approval of minutes for October 25th and 31st. If you've had a chance to review, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve both.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion second to approve the minutes as presented for October 25th and October 31st. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. Next item would be department updates, and Mike, we always lead off with you. So what do you have for us this morning?
I'll try not to overload you with bad news. We got all our slabs completed. We completed Knoxville on Thursday. Get it opened up today. And through all of our slab work, we've gained a little ground and saved a little money on each one. Haul, we saved a lot on it.
You want to put that in dollar amounts, what we estimated and
That I got left.
well, just on haul, what was the
haul budgeted for worst case scenario, because digging those creek beds, you don't know if your footings are going to wind up caving in being 4 or 5 foot wide. And that wasn't the case there. So I think we had 120, 130 yards budgeted for that slab. I think we used 70.
Good.
So I'm going to pick apart the schedule because I've got roughly about $14,000 left. So I'm going to pick it apart and see if we can cram in 2 more.
And which ones would those be, Mike?
They'd have to be easy ones. So I was thinking Montauk. One's a replacement, one's a new.
Both on Montauk.
They're about 300 feet apart. The other option would be to buy rebar for next year.
Okay.
The only rock quotas we have left, we got 85 loads left to go to Brownfield and all of Eldridge. And our new brush cutter, it's up and going, in service. And our new grader showed up Friday. Hopefully it'll be up and going this afternoon. They got put his bits on, install radio, fire extinguisher, decals. So hopefully they can get that out by lunchtime, hopefully, if everything goes smooth.
What territory is that one going to? Can't remember.
Morgan.
Morgan.
So since my last update meeting, everything's been actually going pretty well. I don't have any bad news today.
I'm sure you stayed plenty busy with the rains.
Yeah, we went over on our concrete on Knoxville because of the rains, but not by a terrible amount. Probably used a little more rock, but it's there now.
Good deal.
Darrell, you have anything for Mike?
No, I don't know that we have any kind of update or anything, or if he's out there for the Lancaster, or not Lancaster, bridge on Lancaster. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard anything on it or not, but speaking with Leanna or not, if there's anything.
Was that Livingston?
Livingston. One of those L words, yeah. Lonesome, Livingston, and Lancaster messed me up, yeah. Livingston.
I haven't heard anything, Darrell.
Wasn't there an email that was forwarded maybe to the bridge inspector?
To MoDOT, yeah. I think that was from Jeremy.
Okay.
And I haven't seen anything beyond that. That's
Okay.
So, we're I think the 15th was kind of that final kind of date, but maybe since we've made contact, we're still in the hopper.
I would think at this point we're up against a pretty hard deadline on that, but perhaps we'll have it on there for next year.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Perfect.
Right. All right, Mike, anything else for us?
Not that I can think of. We're just gonna keep hammering away and get as much done as we can.
Take advantage of the nice weather.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's gonna last very long.
At least
Actually,
you
the
got some-
forecast looks wet.
At least you got some moisture to work with.
A little too much in some areas, but happy to get it.
Okay. David, anything else?
I don't think there's much.
All right, Mike, thank you. We'll let you stay or let you go. I know you probably need to
I'll go. I got things to do.
get things rolling this morning. Thanks for the update.
Yep,
Have a
you're welcome.
good day, Mike.
OEM will not be here this morning. I understand they managed a accident out on the interstate last night, so they won't be here. So with that, then I will give the floor to Mike, and I think Mike has some news he'd like to share with us. And Mike, this is, I think, your first department
Yes.
head up presentation. So glad to have you here this morning, and so we look forward to hearing from you.
First of all, we did hire me a second person to help things out a little bit. This is Ed Keeny, and today's his first day, so he's just kind of sitting in, getting his feet wet a little bit, as I am. But as for what we've gotten done, of course, we've stayed busy over at the jail. And we found a few things that actually need to be fixed that have been problems for a few years. So I'm going to try to coordinate some projects with the jail to actually try to get those leaks fixed, maybe for a long period of time. We're getting ready to shut down the cooling tower. Be the first time for that. Gene left me lots of notes, so hopefully that will go smooth. we got those quotes on the 2 compressors. That quote that they sent was, the same job. One of them is $1,000 less if we help carry stuff on up. If we carry the parts on up, we save $1,000 bucks. We have a pump going out on the loop system on pump 1, and he is supposed to have numbers for that sometime by the end of the day, tomorrow morning.
Is that from Peters as well?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Is that gonna be a rebuild or is it gonna be a new pump?
It's gonna be a new pump, and then I'm going to send the old one to be rebuilt and have it down there. We have 2 of those pumps that's been down there for a while. The rear bearings going out in the pump 1. We got pump 2 is still running just fine from there. So hopefully, hopefully we'll get that pump fixed before it goes out. I don't know if we can bypass it for a while. I'll find out from Kip if that's possible. So, but I did find all the air filters hidden in the place, so that was good. That was a feat in itself. But we have. We also have another air conditioner unit that's kicking out and locking itself out about every other day. I have not called anybody on it yet because it's not the compressors, it's something else to go on. The code it's giving me is like a check engine code. Could be 50 different things. So in order to actually figure that out, we'll have to have somebody here with some test equipment and actually do it while it's starting up, and we'll go from there. It wasn't something I jumped on right away because the temperatures aren't normally 90 degrees in the next day or 2. So we will look into that this week or next week, trying to figure out who's best to look at that. It's probably not a thing that Peters has to do. There is people that are closer that are certified on this system. The air conditioners up there, Aaron, I guess they call them, or A-Rod. I pronounce the dates, you know, some of these words are a little difficult, but anyway, we have a company out of Springfield that is quite capable of coming up here, so we don't have the 3.5 hour drive time for somebody coming. So I don't know if we've ever dealt with this other company, but we might look into that too.
What's that company's name?
I left my note on that one. It's
I'll check.
I have it.
Okay, I'll check with you later. Is that RTU6?
Yes. Yes, it's
Okay.
going over at Tony's office in there. So, but no, I've started to get my feet wet, start to figure things out, and to be honest with you, I really enjoy it. So I don't mind unplugging a drain once in a while. It doesn't hurt me at all. So, but that's about what I got. So.
Okay. Darrell, you have any questions for Mike?
No, I think I'm all good on that.
All good. Okay. David,
Huh?
No, I'm fine.
you're good.
Other than if you have Peters coming this way, you might coordinate the 2 together.
Yeah, that's true too, but the job that they're doing on the one that above the jail, number 2, that has 2 compressors out, is probably more than a 1-day job already. So we'd be paying them to stay overnight, and yeah. So, cause I thought of that, but then is it cost efficient for them to do it and then pay their guys to spend a 3rd night, or would it be better maybe if we had somebody else that could just drive up here, take care of it, and be gone the same day.
Could they do that pump in the basement and then RTU6 maybe in the same day?
Well, they might, yeah.
And just for information, the one estimate with us providing some of the labor was $19,883, and the other was $1,000 more. So what I would encourage you to do for us, Mike, is we take up one of the items on our agenda. We're looking at the remaining balance that we have in the ARPA fund, and I think you're probably real close to exhausting your maintenance budget that you inherited, and so these may be items that we would use some of that remaining balance to cover those repairs. So if we could get the quote on 6, if they can quote it, I know they've got to come look at it. And you said they've got you a quote on the pump, or they're going to get you on the pump later
he
today.
Gets back to his hotel.
Okay.
He's actually, Chris is actually out on maintenance call
Okay.
today.
And that way we might have an approximate amount that we can take into consideration as we look at these remaining funds. If I could ask you to do that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Ed, welcome aboard. Glad to have you. Mike, from my standpoint, conversations with all the office holders, we're just thankful that you're here taking care of the campus for us. So you're doing a really good job, and it's enjoyable to work with you. So thank you.
We're getting our feet wet. We're just figuring everything out.
Okay.
We're enjoying it. So.
And you're welcome to stay, or I'm sure there's a lot that needs taken care of this morning. And since it's Ed's first day, he probably needs shown around a little bit more. So, okay.
Yes, we will be headed out. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that update. Next item on the agenda is Steve, County Coroner. Steve, you have the floor.
All right. It's nice that I'm here, and going to be kind of a burden. I'm here too. I'll leave this for Darrell.
Thank you.
And I'll give one to Erik and Joe because they're probably going to be burdened with this in the future. So that way I just covered all the bases at one time. What I've handed you there is the product of the state and the Standard and Training Commission, which the coroners started back in 2018. As I was on the board, we started discussing putting training standards together and coroner standards because there was none. That kind of moved along at a snail's pace until this last year when we had a coroner down in Cape Girardeau that ended up with 5 felony counts against him. Got the state representative riled up, and he got everybody in Jeff City riled up, and so these standards kind of, instead of being 5 or 10 years out, got basically done in a matter of about 8 months. But the 19 standards there listed, we were trained on in October. There's another training class for the newly elected coroners that just got elected here in November. And these actually, it says proposed rule, and I marked that out because as of a week ago, this last Tuesday, it went through the state, whatever process, I'm not sure that process, but as of January 30th, 2025, these standards are in effect through the Department of Health and Senior Services. I looked on the website and it's not even posted. The last is this proposed deal, and it was, as you can see at the bottom, filed on June 1st, 2024. But our standards take place. And each one of these, in fact, it switched so quickly, I was scheduled to go to the spring conference in April, and I had a scheduling conflict, so I had to go in October, which is good because the coroners that went to the training in April literally had to come back to October because of the change. Any questions on that first page?
So, Steve, was this legislative action?
I'm not sure, you would probably know better. I know it come through that 19 CSR 20-80010. It's actually under the Health and Senior Services. I don't know how they do that. I know that the Board of Training Standards was put together by the governor. Everybody that was on the board was okayed through the Senate, and they've been working on this. And then once it went back to Health and Senior Services, I'm not sure what the process from there. If there's a vote, or the governor signs it, or exactly what happens to make it into effect.
Well, it looks like it was enacted in 2020, and now, to your point, they've just made the rule.
The rule is now all corners in the state as of January 30th, 2025 is going to be held to these standards, where most elected officials cannot be taken out of office unless either one, you resign, you die, or you have a felony against you. These standards we are held to, and we can literally go in front of a board by the Department of DHS and can be removed from office. So we are going to be one of the few elected officials that is really, we're going to have our feet held to the fire.
You said they have to be compliant. Is there a timeline to follow after January 30th?
Nope.
You have to be compliant.
January 30th, you're there. That's why they was trying to do it at the end of November, but the Coroners Association said, look, we got new coroners that are going to be elected in November. What are we going to do? And so they got everything pushed off until they said by January 30th is the absolute latest. When I talked to Michael Taylor, which is the chairman for the Board of Standards and Training, to ask him when this was all going to go into effect, I had actually called him the day after that Tuesday. He goes, it got signed yesterday. And that's been a week ago. Well, it'll be 2 weeks ago today, actually. So. Along with that, there's going to have to, the next basically 28 pages there is what the standards, part of the standards of the standard training come from for the office, what we have to do. It's a lengthy thing. That's why I made a deal for you. You can go through it and literally look at it. After that 28 pages, there's 2 pages on the accreditation. Basically, it costs $2,000 to certify the office, and then there's additional charges because once you contact them by phone, you get everything done, then they actually send 2 people from the International Association of Coroners and Medical Examiners to Missouri, to Lebanon, to do an on-site inspection. And it's the county's responsibility to pay for their travel, their stay, their whatever while they are here. I was here in 2015, 16, and 17 trying to get the office certified. That's how long this international deal's been going on. There was grant money through the federal government, and the commission at that time would not do anything. So at this time, there is no grant money, so that's going to be.
Was it a matching grant?
No.
And what year was that?
I was here in 15, 16, and 17 asking for this to be done. So, any questions on that? The next 2 pages is the ABDMI, which is a certification. Basically, it takes what we learned in 24 hours, it adds some more time to it. since I had been coroner, my two deputy coroners have been coroners long enough, and we've run enough cases, we can actually set and take the test to get our certification, and it's not bad. The actual test itself's about $400. So, and then the last page is what I'm here because I know that the commission has some ARPA money left. And to set up the office of coroner, that last page kind of gives an idea of what we need for that. And I tried to sit down and put the best figures I could, and I'm looking at that would be the high number, depending on if we bought a building or if we built a building. That number could change, but I think we can do it for under that amount of money. So.
Darrell, Steve has left some information here for you. We'll put it in your basket so you can review that when you get back. And it would appear to me, Steve, that some of these would be items that you might request during the budget hearings.
And I will be asking for some. I mean, some of the items that we need for this, we can go through budget, but I know a building is outside of budget. And I know
that goes without saying.
I know. and this is not my first time to be in here talking about a building. We talked about the old University Extension building. We talked about the building over here next to mine that the chamber used to be in. So this is my third time of being in here. The only thing is, instead of I would like to have it, now we have to have it. We have to be able to do our job. And if not, we'll be liable. And all it'll take is one lawsuit, and that $750,000 will be pretty minimal.
Okay, Darrell, do you have any questions for Steve?
Well, yeah, I do. I would like to probably browse through that literature he has, but one of the main questions I look at, the things that are coming out of legislation or rulemaking out of Jefferson City is that some of these are shalls do, and some of those are may do's. So those are going to be the top question for me, is that all of the if there's shalls that do that, and then there's rulemaking that makes that happen, but no funding source, then status quo from Jefferson City, mandating things without funding for it. So the main thing that I would want to look at in all of this, Steve, are the counties shall provide these things, and the coroners shall do these things, or that they may do these things.
These are shalls. These are no question of that's why of the training and the urgency to get all the coroners trained, because this is a shall. There is no.
Well, it'll be in the verbiage within those mandates. It will tell us whether those are shalls or mays.
Yeah, I can tell you with the political tornado in Jeff City, there's any part of this, there's no mays to it. It's going to be shalls.
Okay, well, again, I'm not there. I can look at it or haven't had a chance to even consider it, because up until this point, there's not been those mandates.
No, there hasn't. And literally, just like I said, the ones that went to the spring conference in April had to come back to the fall conference in October because there was that big of a change that quickly.
Just a lot of different things that they had.
They had.
I can understand that part.
They had to train on these 19 points because they were going into effect, and
yeah. Okay. Well, that's kind of what I had, Randy.
All right, thanks. David, do you have anything?
I would agree. I mean, it's something we're gonna have to dig into, so see if it's shall or may or where we are. So.
Very good.
Follow
Steve, do you have
statute.
anything else for us?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Need this entered into the minutes of the county. Here's a copy of the deed for the cemetery, and following is a list of people that have been interned in the mausoleum. We done that last week on a nice day. And name tag is not on the front of our spot yet, but it should be within a few weeks is what they said. So the Home and How over there that governs the Mount Rose deal has a copy of those, and I will have this book in my office that has a copy in it too of who all is in there. So there is three deals. Anytime there's an addition, we'll bring that addition to you. One will go in here, one will go to Mount Rose, and same as if somebody comes and is removed from there, we will remove them from all three.
Well, thank you for getting that done. By evidence of this list, is that are there any cremains remaining in our possession?
They are not in our possession yet, but there is two in Springfield Mortuary that they had sent the bill to the county. I don't know if the county has sent that to them. And then once they either come this direction or we happen to be down there to pick them up without making a special trip, we will have them. That's the only two that I know of that is coming, but we do not have them in our possession yet.
Okay. Right, so we don't have any in your office
Nope.
over there?
We got everything done as far as the military looked into, make sure that none of them were military that could go to the military deal. And then we got everything. We had to make sure that because of them going in, that some cremain boxes are plastic and some are paper. And we had to make sure that we didn't need some kind of special deal to put each one in. And because they're plastic, they said no. So
okay. Very good.
It's been a process, but now it's rolling.
Okay, good. Anything else for us?
That's it.
Okay.
Any questions?
I don't think I have any.
Not at this time, anyway.
We'll expect to hear more from you during budget. So, all right, Steve. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next item would be CDT applications. And I think we have one, and that's from the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce. And so I would entertain a motion on this, and then maybe before I do that, Ashley, do you have anything else? I know you and your board were here a couple weeks ago, and do you have any?
No changes or updates since then. We're just anxious to hear what the final decision is.
Okay, all right. We've had that in our possession for 2 weeks, so we've had a chance to review it. Darrell, do you have any questions before I ask for a motion?
Yeah, I don't think I have any questions.
Okay. David, do you have any questions? You have
I don't believe I
5
do.
people here that would be happy to answer those questions.
I'll brag today.
Yeah, let's hear what Brett's got to say. Yeah.
No, we don't want to know.
I would defer that to Ashley to answer all the questions.
All right, so we had reviewed the application. I think they provided some additional information for us before we adjourned last time regarding some financials. I think the request was for $20,000. I think last year we approved $5,000. So at this time, I would entertain a motion for any amount.
Well, I would make a motion for 10,000 CDT.
Okay.
For the chamber.
Okay.
I would want to. Is it question time? Is that would be?
Well, I need a second before
Okay.
I take up
Okay.
discussion.
I will second that then.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce CDT application for $10,000. Now, is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I'll probably get this. I clarified it in my own mind while I was sitting here being quiet for a minute. That's kind of unusual, right? So we would continue on with a membership rate as well beyond the CDT. Well,
so as I've looked at this, we know that the funds come out of our CDT line items. Okay, so from our standpoint, it's CDT, but
sure.
I would ask the chamber to acknowledge it in some form of membership. Now I know they have a $5,000 category, and then there's a big jump between 5 and then the next level, unless things have changed. So I think that's a question that they can answer or discuss and then get back with us, but I'm sure they would love for us to be part of the chamber membership.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, we would.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any more discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? Same sign. Application approved. So we will get funds distributed at our next funding. When will it be?
That's what's our next payable.
Yeah, which at that point in time, since we normally do it half and half, would we just go ahead and do the full amount? Because normally we'll do half like earlier in the year, but now that it's towards the end of the year, it'd be my recommendation that we just go ahead and do the full amount. And okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Do you have anything you'd like to?
Well, we're just looking forward to another great year together and moving forward with our partnership. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate what you guys are doing, and looks like you're staying busy.
Yes.
Maybe that's why.
Moving forward and keep up the good work.
Just staying busy.
Yes.
Just staying busy. All right, you're welcome to stay if you'd like, or if not, we appreciate you being here this morning, and we'll get
We'll
some.
be back
Yeah, we'll be back.
to
Okay.
come and present to the commission.
Okay. All right. We'll.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate that very, very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emily.
Have a great day.
Thank
Keep
you.
these boys in line. Thank you guys. Bye, Jack.
Bye.
Okay, next item on the agenda is discussion on the ARPA fund balance and proposed projects. So I asked Leanna to get us a report. We think we have about $507,000 remaining as of last week. So that's where we're going to start at is 500,000 and start working our way down the list. Items that we know that we've talked about, our audit is 25,000. The signage for the campus, the new 911 signage and the 2nd Street signage, we have proposals that are approximately 30,000. Darrell, you've put together a request for box culvert on Kentucky. The number I had on that is a little over 76,000.
I have a new estimate on that.
Okay.
And this was just, and Leanna would probably could get this for you so you could get the paperwork in your hand. But what I have is a total of 84,153.
Now, let me ask: was that
that was completion with the aluminum box culvert and all materials to complete?
Okay? Does not include labor.
It does include labor.
Okay, I would ask, and I don't know, but I would suspect since we're performing that in-house, that may or may not be eligible. How much is the labor amount?
$7,838.
Okay, so we know that 84,153 is what we anticipate with our labor, and if that is ineligible to be qualified for ARPA, then we'll deduct the 7,838.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and that's going to have to go out for bid. So what I hope to do here in a few minutes is to be able to agree on putting some of these items out for bid, because they'll have to be out there for a couple of weeks, and probably the earliest we can get them in the newspaper will be Saturday. And I think that would put us at our first meeting in December before we could open bids and approve. I think that's the timeline I've looked at.
Okay.
Okay.
Darrell, are these culverts not on state bid?
They are.
We may not have to put
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to.
That's a good point.
because we're going to self-perform it.
I think they come down and help set it though. Darrell, don't they send somebody down and help set that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but to David's point, Linda's confirmation, that's likely to be on state bid, so that one we maybe will get rolling relatively quick then. We did order, we have, due to a Microsoft 10 going dark, so to speak, it's not going to be,
Security supported.
pardon me?
Security supported.
Yeah.
No more security updates.
Yeah. So we've ordered 15 desktops to replace units that will not be able to be upgraded in order to be compliant with the security level. Microsoft will no longer support Microsoft 10 from a security level. So that was about probably 17 or 18,000 on that. All right. Next thing, we've discussed the building, and I'd like to open that up for a little bit. We do have someone in the room that has some expertise in this area, I believe. And so I'm going to ask one of our audiences. I'm going to ask for a lifeline here, or I want the audience to vote. Okay. So what we've been discussing is the need to waterproof the building. Okay, as far as the brick, we know that we need to replace a lot of the sealant and the caulking around the windows and joints and the stone up above. So we're, I think, all in agreement on that. But then there's back and forth discussion regarding the brick needs to breathe, if you will. That's layman's terms.
From Mr. Layman himself.
Yeah, he hasn't used that for a while, by the way. So what research I've done, there's waterproofing and sealing, or water repellent, I think I should say. I would come down on the side of the sealing. Probably is not the way to go. That's the term I've been using. but maybe a water repellent. So I know you do home inspections, and I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Commercial buildings.
And
on top
commercial
of that.
buildings, so,
So from construction experience, I would say that most people don't realize that brick is porous and does need to be resealed, re-waterproofed at a certain point. I don't know exactly that age, but also re-tuck pointing all of the mortar joints is and could be an issue. So you're talking about two different things, because you can't just seal over the brick and it's gonna be able to be re-tuck pointed. So I would say absolutely, I would deal with around the transitions, around the windows, that first, and look at the re-tuck pointing, and then the brick would be my last option if that doesn't fix your leaks or your areas of concern.
well, since you didn't get up and leave, now I'm gonna put you to work. You wanna review that for me? Why don't you take a few minutes to review that, and then I'll come back to you, because I really do appreciate your opinion on that.
What can I get back to you on it instead of doing it right here, right now? Because I do have to go to a college signing at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Or I need to leave here probably in 10, 15 minutes.
What's your, can I email something to you, Brett?
Absolutely.
Okay, what's your email?
Inspect
Okay,
by stronghold at Gmail.
inspect by stronghold
At
at
gmail.com.
Gmail. Okay, I'll email something to you.
I do know that company is a very reputable company, and they do a lot of stone and brickwork.
Okay. Well,
So about the breathable part, there are weep holes, that wick at the bottom with a rope that comes out, and that is where that water, if it does get behind the brick, and then your would be plywood or whatever's behind the wall, it runs down that wall on the outside of the tieback and then runs out those weep holes. A lot of times in construction, sometimes those weep holes get left out, or there's not enough weep holes, and you have an issue there.
Okay, you said you inspect commercial buildings as well.
Mhm.
Is this common in commercial buildings of sealing the brick?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't have a lot of experience in that per
Yeah,
se,
me
but yes, what you guys are asking is a very, very common thing, especially on an aged building, because you'll see that brick will start to spall, is what they call it. And the reason it spalls is because the moisture gets behind the face of the brick, and then when it freezes, it pops. And once it starts popping, it's a done deal. So that is the reason that you reseal it. I just, the timeline, I don't know exactly when that's supposed to be done, but 100% you should address that as a maintenance item.
Okay.
On an occasion.
and of course, that's one of the discussion items we've had as to what the best use of the remaining funds from a maintenance standpoint. These are one-time funds, and if we can use them for maintenance purposes, it'll extend the life of the building here, our roof, the masonry, down the road, then we'll be able to somewhat preserve our maintenance budget for the next few years before we have to take this up again.
And I have another company that I would probably recommend for you guys to visit with that is in that industry as well, that I would highly
We
recommend.
definitely have to know that.
And trust, it would be probably who I would use for something like that.
We did put it out for proposals and bid, and we only received one, and since it's went that path, it would be difficult for me to review that. I mean, it's already out there.
But it would still be somebody to at least have a conversation with that I would trust his opinion, and he would be a third party, no bias, because he doesn't have the job and isn't going to get the job, and he'd do that for a favor for me.
Okay. Well, so Brett, I appreciate that. What I'm going to do is sometime today, I will email you a copy of this, because I really do appreciate your input on it. and that's inspectbystronghold@gmail.com.
Got it.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Well, I greatly appreciate that, and then if you could review that and get back to me in the next couple of days, maybe.
Today's Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you by the end of the week.
Okay, great. All
So
right.
what signing are you going to do?
Well, Justin Huff, his
Okay.
daughter's on the swim team and is signing with Truman State. I just found out
Alright.
about it this morning,
Good deal.
and yeah, I've got a little bit of time here this morning, so I thought, well, I'm gonna run over there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, which I guess all Lebanon kids are signing today. I don't know. I assume.
I don't.
I mean, I couldn't.
I know they
imagine-
have a signing day, but I don't know
Right,
when
I
it
couldn't
is.
imagine that they're gonna do it on multiple days, so I
Yeah.
assume all Lebanon kids sign today.
3 today. I'm not sure if all the other signings have been locked in yet, though.
Okay,
So
3 today.
just 3 today, I think.
And is it in the high school gym?
It is.
Do I need to leave?
No,
No, you're
no,
fine.
Brett, these are,
You're
these,
fine.
Well,
these are open meetings,
This is
so.
my first meeting, and so I thought, well, I'm not leaving. There's
What
no
took you
reason
so long to get here?
Well, I don't know. Dad. You don't have a good answer.
Okay,
Finish up.
pardon me.
That was the end of the list.
No, that's not the end of the list. The other item was that we had looked at, contacting roofing companies to, see if they would quote, an extended warranty on the roof, to examine it, appraise it, and quote a 10-year extended warranty. We're under warranty right now until next October. I've contacted 2 companies. One has responded, is willing to come and look at it and give us a quote. The other has indicated they would like to come and look at it, and will come and look at it. But they haven't done that yet. So I'd like to reach back out to those and get that price in here.
What was the total price on the roof? If we did let's just go from that standpoint. If we do everything with that, what was the bottom line?
David, it's been a month now
Okay.
since I've talked to him. I would misquote if I said anything. Seemed to me like it was going to be, so here I'm going to misquote. It was going to be maybe upwards of $70,000 to remediate anything and put a 10-year warranty on it. And of course, we'd want to know what the details of the warranty are too. Brett, you have any thoughts on roofs while you're here?
What companies are you talking to, and what is the roof material?
2 local companies. The roof material looks like, and I don't know it's that white.
Rubber, like
Yeah.
a TPO membrane.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I know about that is through the school, we're dealing with that right now, and if they come out and do a warranty on that, an inspection yearly, they will continue to keep up a 10-year warranty. But there is some maintenance items that go with that, and I think that's critical, that you can apply a new coating over the top of it and then continue to get that 10-year warranty. And so I would recommend that. And that TPO material is pretty good, and they've come a long ways with the UV protecting on that, because that's usually what breaks that down the most, but they've come a long ways with that material.
And that's the way the one company that I've had a little lengthier discussion with, that's how they described it. Yeah. Some type of sealant over the top of that.
They just put a real thin mill thickness over the top. You know, your transitions are going to be your big water issues. So any transition where it meets a parapet wall, where there's a penetration through the roof, those are your big items.
Well, and then when they're recoated, it does add the UV layer to keep from, degrading the underneath. So.
I think what the school district is going to do is we're going to allow
a certain amount of budget every year to keep, and it'll be a minimum. Let's just use $10,000 every year to keep that up. And so then it's not $100,000 bill at the end of the year, and they just do sections of the roof every year to keep it compliant and keep that warranty up to date.
Yeah. So it really gives us some budget certainty, I guess, is the way that I look at it. That $10,000 or whatever it might be, going to be easier to budget for than $250,000 roof. So, and I think I'm trying to coordinate these together because as I've had conversations with both companies, it's important that they know what one is using and what the other is using and how those chemicals might interact. So, that's just a surface level understanding on my part. So if they waterproofed the building, but that impacted the roof, or when they sprayed on the roof, if that impacted the waterproofing. So I'm trying to think of it in terms of doing both and letting the companies determine how they work together to make sure we don't create something that's going to, give us a problem and this one now won't warranty or this one won't warranty or whatever. So
It's a good thought.
okay. Darrell, any questions for Brett?
No, thank you, Brett. Wish I was there to greet you, but thanks for your opinions.
You're welcome.
All right, next item, we have a tax refund request, and let me see if I can find that. And this was the amount of $65.62, and this was on property that wasn't owned, but was taxed to the subsequent purchaser, and this has to do with the supplemental road tax last year. I'll pass it down to David, and if you have any questions, Darrell, let me know. But it's $65.62, and it's been vetted through normal process. What's your enrollment up there this year, Brett, at the school?
I don't have that. I should know that, but I don't. We've pretty well stayed steady. Yeah, there's not much growth. But there's some good things maybe on the horizon for some housing.
Good.
Darrell, I just looked at the paperwork and signed it, so it looks all in order.
Okay, all right.
I would entertain a motion to approve the request for $65.62.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 I'll abstain.
Darrell's going to abstain. Okay.
I guess I didn't sign for it, did I?
Next item on the agenda, I have the use agreement between the county and the Nebo Falcon Fire Protection District regarding the dry knob building. This is just the agreement shall cover the period of January 1, 25 through December 31 of 2027. Not sure how many years they've been down there, but I think it's been a while. I'd open that up for discussion and or a motion. Last time we approved this was on 12/21 of 21, and it was also a 2-year agreement. The only thing that's changed is the dates.
I've not heard of any issues. Have you, Darrell?
I have some. I have a question or maybe a comment for that.
Let's hear it.
I never go out that way, and when I do, it's almost always dark. And that building has no light, hardly whatsoever. And I think it would be great for us to put something out there, dusk the dawn, or a little more than what's out there, because it is very dark. And I think it probably would be security reasons for anything, just to have something out there where it's lit up. And whether we could do that through some type of ARPA or that CDT funding to allow some sort of lighting to be placed on more than what we've got out there. It's very, very low.
I have another idea. Maybe since elections use that, we could get elections to pay for that.
We can have it, but we've tried.
Security for elections sounds real good to me.
Let's look into it deeper, because I think there was a light out there.
You know,
Linda, I think there may be still a particle light, partial light, and it's old, yellow, and it doesn't hardly cover. It is like, really, it almost looks like a flashlight in a building.
You know, Darrell, I think you're exactly right, because we have had a little bit of trouble with people dumping stuff out there. So that might deter some of that if we did that. So we might need to install one or two more around the property to make it more visible.
Yeah, I think people would watch it for us, but they can't see it if they're not. It's so dark.
Right.
It is a dark one.
Very
So
good
just
point, Darrell.
FYI.
Okay, we will lay that over until our next meeting. So we will inquire what we have and discuss what we need to do at our next meeting then. Is that agreeable?
I think we can go ahead and sign
Lease agreement.
the lease agreement.
You want to go ahead and do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
All right. Then I would entertain a motion to approve the lease agreement between the county and the Nebo Falcon Fire Protection District for the January 21 of 25 through December 31 of 2027. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the lease agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the lease agreement. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Lease approved. We'll check into the lighting. Let me jump back to the ARPA fund balance. There was a couple items on there that I think we need to look at and then run some numbers here. But in light of the information we received this morning from maintenance, we're looking at probably, I'm going to say, a $25,000 repair on some of the HVAC systems. When I ran the numbers previously, we had a small balance remaining. I think would cover this if all the items that we've discussed so far we approve. Any thoughts on that?
Did you say 25?
I'm going to say 25,000. RTU2 was I'm going to say 20,000, 19,883. And we do have the quote coming in this afternoon on that pump.
I feel like that's probably something we should put into ARPA if we can. Those are just other things that's going to prolong maintenance issues down the road and further expenses, so that will save the county budgets for future budgets.
Okay.
I do have an idea that, and I don't have any idea about what this cost is, Randy, but you had mentioned an electronic speed monitor and vehicle count that they have down at Lake Ozarks Council of Government. And if we would happen to have funding, I don't know what those cost, but that would be something that I think that our road and bridge could get for accurate counts. And it would also help out in areas where we have complaints where folks are maybe traveling at a little higher rates of speeds than they're posted. I think that those road counts are going to be something necessary to have that are very accurate. And so that would be maybe a thought process going forward with that as well for ARPA.
Darrell, I'll be up there next Monday, and I will do some inquiry on that unit, get us more information on that. It's my understanding it's available for any of the counties or municipalities to use. Right now, I think it's just setting out behind the building. So let me gather some information, and I'll report back to you next Tuesday.
Yeah, maybe they want to sell it.
Well, it is possible that they would do that. I'm not sure if there's any guidelines to that, because I'm not sure if they bought it outright or if they acquired it from MoDOT. I'm not sure what the circumstances are.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'll find out, and I'll let you know next Tuesday.
That's great.
And then another thing is, it's my understanding, and I know we're not in budget, but it's my understanding that the sheriff's office would like to purchase 2 vehicles this year. Typically, they purchase one out of inmate security, and we have generally historically purchased one out of, I believe, GR. That might be something else that if the funds are available, that we purchase that vehicle out of the ARPA and preserve our GR to see how we finish the year. So that would be something else I would put on the list for consideration. And that's all I had on the ARPA balance. I forgot those 2 items.
Okay.
Any additional discussion on that?
The cars would be what? About 150?
Well, so the cars, last year we budgeted 50,000 per vehicle. They came in less than that. So I would say if we plugged in a number of 50,000, but what we know is that the quote to get those outfitted now is a little over $18,000 per vehicle.
So 140.
If we did both of them, I'm only suggesting that we do one because I'm not sure the balance is going to carry 2, but that all depends on what we agree on.
What was the total on the MTS?
MTS was 154
Total?
I added it up some.
I was coming from 365 based on what you'd said prior
So
to
far,
the vehicles.
okay.
Yeah.
Did you put the roof in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rough estimates. So there's 505 with 2 vehicles.
With 2 vehicles, okay. Oh, that's about what we have. David, I came up with 154,250 to answer your question on MTS. And that's if we accepted all of the addendums except for we don't need to seal that new brick that they put on the ramp out there in the wall.
You say 506 was the number you had?
505. I mean, these are rough estimates. We're
Right.
roughly, yeah.
Roughly. Well, that pretty well answers how far it's going to go, doesn't it?
Is there any other thoughts on that? Anything that's come up in the last week or 2 since we met on the ARPA funding? Okay. All right.
I just think it's very important that we put our maintenance in place and hopefully deter any major repairs in the future and get the building in the best shape it's been in a while. And that's how we expend our funds.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, with the passage of Senate Bill 756, the county is obligated to provide the political subdivisions the amount of credit as it was determined by the applications from those political subdivisions. And Darrell, I showed you a sample letter last week, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show something to David, and if we concur, then we'll get those ready to mail out here by the end of the month. David, that's just one, but they're identical except for who it's the political subdivision, the amount. Okay. Any thoughts, recommendations? Darrell, any recommendations on that, or are you good with it?
Yeah, I'm good with it. I feel like that we're just gonna respond the way that we've
been directed to do.
Yeah.
That's one of those shall items.
That's a shall.
That's a shall item. Okay, next item then would be general county business. Darrell, do you have anything?
I can't think of anything offhand.
David, do you have any?
The only thing I can throw out is just thank everybody for being patient during the last floods that we've had, because there was a lot of washouts and everything else, and appreciate everybody's patience. We're working as fast as we can to get them back in order.
Yeah. Thankful for the rain.
Thankful for the rain. Just a little bit less at a time would be nice. So. More frequent.
I do have something, Randy. Have we heard anything, or have you heard anything on the opening of Gooden Hollow Bridge on 64?
No updates, Darrell, that I've seen. We usually get that one email from MoDOT, and I haven't seen anything probably for a week or 10 days now.
Yeah.
I did drive down there last Friday. It looks like it's almost ready to go. Maybe waiting on cure time on the concrete. I don't know. But
I do believe because they've had some good weather, it's probably went, maybe will be completed a little ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I feel like that as well. I'm like David, it feels like that they're probably right on the cusp of doing something. Maybe it's inspections or something. You know, it's always those last minute details.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's a good segue into, we received confirmation from Smith & Company from Jeremy that MoDOT approved and agreed with those bid amounts. So Jeremy has sent that to that bid award to, I believe it was KCI. And in a conversation I had with him, we might have some type of pre-construction conference here maybe by the end of the year. Sounds like they're wanting to get started on those. So stay tuned for that. But forward progress continues. And then the other thing I have, or one more thing I have, is communications from Paragon regarding the substantial completion paperwork. It sounds like DeWitt is wanting to draw down some of that so they can get some of their subs paid. I haven't had a conversation with Alex or Mark, but I'd like to have that before I make any recommendation. They still have the rails to put up coming up the steps. They are in possession of those. They're at DeWitt. They were scheduled to be installed this week, but the last email I had from Mark, he would prefer to do those at the same time that they replace those capstones, and he doesn't have a definitive date on that. So I wouldn't be opposed to releasing some of the funds, but I would just toss it out as far as the retainage, to what degree we want to release those funds until the project is complete. And we have a couple other things that need done, and those are just minor items. Couple of locks, I think, that needed to be reworked. So I'm just opening that up for thoughts until I have that conversation.
Any amount they were asking or suggesting, or?
Let's see. Okay, so this is an email from yesterday. This is from DeWitt. I believe we anticipated billing all but about 50,000. The retainage is about 250,000, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood. And so they're wanting all but 50,000 of that.
With what they've got left to do, I probably wouldn't have a problem with that.
Okay, Darrell, what do you think?
Yeah, I saw that Alex email yesterday, I think it was, or whenever it came in last. I'll trust whatever you kind of feel like that we're protected with. So
you've got a better feel for the dollars than I do. So
well, the question I really want to ask Mark is when will they get it completed? And I know that he can't answer that definitively. But it'd be and they wouldn't walk away from this, and I know that, and we're pleased with the building, and I want to be a good partner with them, if I can use those terms. I'm not opposed to releasing some of it, but I'm not sure I'm willing to go all the way down to a $50,000 balance until I have that conversation. So
yeah.
if you give me some latitude, I might split the difference with him. But at this point, I think we need to stress the urgency that we know you want to get it completed, but we want it completed as well. So, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take the direction that I'll have that conversation and maybe release half of it. And maybe that will encourage DeWitt to get down here sooner than later. Everybody good with that? Okay. All right. Well, we're still in general county business. I don't know that I had anything else. I'll look through while you're thinking about it. Any comments, items listed on the agenda? Public comments, questions?
What was that document that Steve Murrell wanted entered into the minutes with the cemetery?
So about approximately 3 years ago, Jack, we purchased a, what do they call that? A vault at the mausoleum. Having trouble with my words this morning. And so we had a number of cremains that were stored on county property. And so the commission agreed to purchase that vault so that we can store the cremains in there. And looks like we accomplished that now.
And is that in Mount Rose?
I believe it is, yes. Yeah. Okay. Any public comment items listed on the agenda? Okay. Seeing none, I'll go to routine business and then I'll circle back around one more time before we have, Darrell, I've got some abstracts here. We've got the sheriff's, the county clerk, and we've got the public administrator. So we're just going to do the routine items here.
Okay.
And while we're initialing those, did everybody have a chance to see the warrants that were paid?
Yes, I did.
Now we're doing payroll. Darrell. Whoops, here, I forgot one. So are you standing still? It doesn't sound like you're driving.
Yeah, I got pulled over. I mean, I didn't get pulled over.
I was gonna say, you got pulled over?
It is a little different the way you say it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Some insurance.
You just need that, or you need. And I didn't read it when I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
asking.
yours. That's the intent for them to move forward.
Were they gonna be here this week after they get this or
No.
not? Didn't really need to, right? Was that kind of the conclusion?
Sorry about that.
And Darrell, we're initialing off on the health insurance renewal.
Oh, okay. Has the quote for property insurance come through yet?
Haven't seen it. We had some surveys that we had to complete, and I think those have been sent back to the underwriter.
Okay.
There's been no updates on Mercy yet.
No, I haven't heard anything. Okay, now I'll go to public comments, items not on the agenda. Okay. All right, seeing none, then I'll go back to just any other business that we have thought of or needs to come before us.
I'd like to thank Linda and her entire crew for that great election day and the preceding days that were for taking care up there at her office. From just looking from the outside of it, she had quite a task in front of her, and she did very well with that.
That was a well-oiled machine.
Things seem like they went very smooth. So, congratulations, Linda.
Just think, Linda, you could still be counting.
You know, yeah. And there were others that were into the next day. There is a great group of election judges and a great group of people working to a good end.
What was the final percentage?
67.
For
Our
Laclede County?
registered voter count went up significantly, which changed what our percentages could have been based on prior years. We were at like 76 before, and we went up to like 67 on this one, I think it was. Our absentee voted 19% of that.
19.
Of the 64, we voted 19%.
I knew you were busy here.
And we probably will need to look at that futuristically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the thoughts I had, and I don't know whether, this would be anything Linda would want to consider, but might be the possibility that when MU moves up front, that we could go in there and repurpose that space for elections, and then those who vote absentee, they're all there on one level. There's parking that would be closer, more convenient for them. So that might be, and I don't know how Linda did it with, she did a great job, but it was just a steady stream through there in a very limited amount of space, so.
Yeah.
But we would expect nothing less of her.
Give it our best. May change things later.
All right, anything else?
No.
All right, Darrell, gentlemen, anything else? No? Okay. I think we haven't met for a couple of weeks. I've got some things I need to take care of, a couple calls I need to make. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thanks for letting me join in on call in.
Anytime. All right, drive safe.
Well, thank you.
Okay, we'll see you.
See you there.